In this installment of the Panther assembly, we're going to be talking about the nose gear. There's actually 3 sections to this. The first section today is going to be putting in the nose gear retract assembly itself. To get it out of the way, the first thing I did was put the wheel in. There's spacers on each side and E-clips to hold it in. Get your wheel in. You'll notice it's angled back and the scissors are angled forward. That's the correct position for this airplane. The strut fits into the landing gear, and there are 2 set screws that hold the strut in place. Now the strut moves inside the gear, so we don't tighten them all the way down. We just tighten them down as tight as they can go, but without making it bind. So this strut can turn in the retract. Once we know what those positions are and what they feel like, we want to put some Loctite on those set screws before we move forward, giving it time to dry and whatnot. I also put oil in there so that if there's any Loctite that comes through the screw holes, it doesn't bind up the whole assembly. So don't go overboard on the Loctite. You just need a little tiny bit to hold those set screws in place. The gear itself is set 1 3/8 inches, which is about 35 millimeters back from the opening. So that's from the opening to the center of the strut. That gives us a nice scale position, gets the gear back. Inside, you'll see that there are 2 small horns. They go on screws, and that's our steering horn. We want to put those all the way tight against the side of the strut, and then any thread that might be sticking out past that, we're going to shave that off. I used a Dremel, but you can file it or whatever you have, because that is going to require some removal of material of the mounting rails. When that gear comes down, it is going to hit the mounting rails a little bit. So we do want to make sure that we have them as tight as possible, so we have to remove as little material as possible. When we install the gear, we do use a wood screw just like we did on the main gear screws. So they do require a pilot hole. If you don't drill a pilot hole and just try to force the wood screws in, the rails will crack. They're not plywood, they're hardwood. So you do have to drill a proper pilot hole. I used a 3/32 drill for that. If you start to put them in and they're just super tight, that means your pilot hole is too small. So just open it up a little bit. Don't force it. Just don't go overboard. If you do, you'll have to fill the hole and redo it, of course. So that is the nose gear installation. That's very simple. Next, we'll do the steering.